Alrighty fellas, yo, what's up? Good morning, my name is Patrouski. Welcome to another PokeMMO stream recap. I believe this is stream recap 313, which is crazy. We have that many in the books. Today is a very special one. We are doing the HEATRAIN raid today, fellas. The most difficult PVM challenge within PokeMMO that I believe took a few days. My memory's foggy, but either took a few days or took a while for people to solve. People forget, when this raid first came out, people couldn't instantly beat it. That's the first time that's ever happened in PokeMMO history. It's pretty rare in video games that if a new piece of content releases, it takes a few days to defeat it. That's pretty rare in my opinion these days. So it's a tough challenge. We've had months and months and months to work on it and solve it. So I think it'll be much easier. I just get to follow a guide like a privileged player, unlike those who had to fucking be on the front line and figure things out so shout out to everybody who was doing that day one of HEATRAIN. But this is I'll be following Cav's Dig HEATRAIN guide. I'm sure there'll be a whole video dedicated to this, and this will be kind of the behind the scenes as well as showing parts of the fight. I couldn't believe I already made a mistake, Chad. I already messed up. This slot used to be Pelipper, and I believe my Pelipper is not my OT. So I already made a mistake today, which is gonna, it's gonna be a lot of mistakes today. That's just how raids, when things are this difficult, there's just more room for mistakes. Maybe I messed up. Let me see. So I think with I think my problem is I need to switch my team around. I don't have enough OTs. You need 4 OTs, I believe, to do HEATRAIN. And I have 1, 2, I think I have 3. I'm 1 short. I worked so hard. I thought that I had enough OT Pokemon, but based on the teams that you actually need, I think I end up being 1 short. So I am going to have to either make a new Pokemon today, which I wasn't expecting, and put things on hold. Hopefully not, or just figure out a way to organize my team where I can keep things OT and have it all work. We're gonna have to figure. Yeah, I don't want to have to stall HEATRAIN again. I thought we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to just figure it out step by step. I already went through and put items on everything. I went through and I double checked movesets, EVs, etc. I do have tomato berries. There's 3 different Hydreigon sets, 4 different Hydreigon sets, multiple Hydreigon sets. I have tomato berries as well as Zinks in case I need to switch up this Hydreigon. This set that I currently have is obviously full special attack and speed, but there are certain other sets, depending on what position you are in the raid. I'll try to explain a little bit, and I'll get a screenshot up of the raid cheat sheet, essentially. But depending on what position you're in, and what Pokemon, depends what Pokemon you have, and how the whole fight carries out, right? So I have to take up one of these slots. I have to either be player 1, player 2, player 3, or 4. Each column is a different player. And then the rows are the different turns. So it's columns are players, rows are turns. We have a lot to learn today. I'm going to try my best. We might fail, but that's okay. There's always a new day. Let's jump into it. Okay, I think I might have fixed my problem. It's crazy. I've done so much HEATRAIN raid prep, and I still made a mistake. And that just goes to show, once again, how complicated this fight is. I need an OT, another OT. And I could only replace, based on my team, I think, with Gallade. And I do thankfully have an EV-trained Gallade that is good enough. It's not 31 attack, and it's not adamant. It's a lonely. I was a little worried about, in a fight like this, I need to show my screen. Sorry about that. I literally was worried about HEATRAIN targeting. HEATRAIN targeting and defensive stats matter in a raid like this tremendously. I need to teach this thing Sacred Sword in a quick sec. But so I was worried about, thankfully we have some HEATRAIN raiders in my chat. Today, Chad is teaching me. Today, the roles are reversed. I am not the guide maker today. I am not a PVM expert. I don't pretend to be. I like to do the content and experience a little bit of everything in PokeMMO, but I am not the person to look for PVM guides. I always say that there's a reason why I don't do certain guides. I don't like to talk out of my depth. I will record myself doing them and, having fun. But this is not a HEATRAIN guide by any means. This is me following Cav's guide and just trying to attempt HEATRAIN for myself. So I'm going to XP train this Gallade in one of the most painful ways, because I need him ready for raids. We're going to go teach him Sacred Sword in a sec. But I'm going to XP candy the ever-living crap out of him. 120? Let's see. What if I do like this and then rare candy the rest? Because rare candies are getting cheaper. Let's do this. Boom. We just used so many XP candies. Don't tell me how much that cost, chat. I don't want to know. I don't want to know how expensive that was. We're going to put CC on this, but we're going to put Sacred Sword on it, and then we should be ready once it's level 100. Dude, I'm gonna be so real. Chat's been amazing today. I don't know. I was saying, I don't know what happened. I feel like collectively chat had like a out of body pre-stream experience. Usually on stream, I get trolled and memed on. That's like half the, I mean, it's part of being a streamer, right? Half of being a streamer, if not more. Okay, I'm already trolling myself though. But today chat was collectively like, you know what? He's locking in. He's got a serious task at hand. Chat's being nice as hell. Just fucking helpful. I'm also exercising extreme streamer privilege today. I am just going to head to the HEATRAIN raid over at Stark Mountain and then just cross my fingers and hope that 4 people want to show up or 3 people want to show up. And I can't even get there. I'm brain damaged. I'm just hoping that 3 people show up and want to do the raid. That's literally like, I'm actually exercising. I'm so bad at PVM and I'm so nervous for this fight. I think I'm exercising peak streamer privilege for this one. I'll be so honest with you guys. If someone said, could you explain what's happening for those just joining? I can try my best to do a quick little TLDR. So I'm preparing for the HEATRAIN raid, which is the hardest PVM challenge in PokeMMO. And I'm using this cheat sheet, okay? And the cheat sheet is as follows. There's 4 columns, the up and down, the columns, right? Column 1 that says Hydreigon to Fog, and then goes down by the rows, Flygon, Earth Power, EP equals Earth Power, Hydreigon EP, Dig, Gallade, Kingdra, etc. That's player 1. Each column is a player. That's player 1, and they will do their turn in row order. And then there's column 2, which is player 2, player 3, player 4. The position of all those players matters, and what Pokemon each player has changes depending on what position they're in, if that makes sense. So, like, I'm either going to be player 1 or player 2. And player 1 or player 2 needs... Go ahead and get this. Blah, blah, blah. I need a Flygon lead to go ahead and defog first and then go for an Earth Power. And then I am either going to go into Hydreigon or Garchomp, depending on whether I'm player 1 or player 2. And then I go into Gallade both times. And then I either go Kingdra or Politoed or Pelipper, depending on which slot I am. And then same thing, Kingdra or Politoed or Pelipper. And then final slot just changes. So like each position, each player number that you are totally changes how the fight is played. It's very, very dependent. What does PVM mean? PVM is just player versus monster. I think it's a RuneScape term. I think most MMOs use PvE, to be honest, which is player versus environment. I think they're basically the same thing. There's like slight differences, I believe, but they become a little semantic. I believe it's mostly the same thing. Player versus monsters versus PvE is usually player versus environment or player versus everything or everyone. It usually depends. Yeah, we're doing the HEATRAIN raid. We're trying to figure out, we have 4 people. We're getting the team together, the squad together. We're trying to figure out who's in what slot while also managing our OTs. You need 4 OTs for this fight. You need completed national Pokedex. You need a ton to even have a chance at attempting this fight. So it's the big mama of raids. All right, it seems like I am going to end up in P2. So I'm going to end up being player 2. I believe Fly Happy is player 1. Racky is P4, and then YZ Trash is P3. So I am P2. That means I need to actually re-EV my Hydreigon. The Hydreigon for player 2 specifically needs 88 speed EVs and 168 in special defense. I need to be tankier and try to live versus the P1 Hydreigon needs to go down. I genuinely think we might be ready. I re-EV'd my Hydreigon. My Flygon should be good. I think we're good. I have to go through and go over my entire team. But this is going to be... I think we're good. I think we're ready. 2 seconds ago, chat asked me if I had done the fucking Stark storyline stuff. You have got to be kidding. You are trolling me to my deepest. Put the cloud music on. Bro, this is a Pepe laugh moment. There's a boss battle, people are saying. That's fine. I literally have a fucking HEATRAIN raid ready team. What are the odds I lose this boss battle? It's gotta be. I hope she wipes you. That would be crazy. Losing to the fight before the HEATRAIN fight would be pretty wild. What it feels like to not have the fucking storyline done so you can do in-game content after 9,000 hours, by the way. Pepe laugh. Wait, my teammate Racky Prince said, wait, I didn't fight these guys either, and he just got okay, so it's not just me. That's actually like really embarrassing that we're this is amazing. Oh yeah, guys, you guys, can't you believe that I stalled the HEATRAIN raid for 3 weeks? Oh my goodness. Now it's finally time to do it, and instead of all of us doing it, we're just We're just getting stopped by trainers and storyline shenanigans, dude. Chat, we might have made it. We had to fight a lot of trainers along the way. Do we have more? Oh my god, we have more to do. Just let me fight Heatran. This is a really cool little entrance, though. Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Is Heatran, like, through here? Okay. We might have one more fight. I'm happy to pop potions and leopard berries. I'm just gonna heal whatever I need to be able to just do this fight without having to go back to the PC. No! No way they teleport you? No, after beating the they teleport you outside of the cave? I just worked so hard to get all the way in there! I think we're done, though. We have to go all the way back through the cave, but we're done. I have to Lepa the Sacred Sword or whatever. We're done, fellas. We can finally begin the Heatran raid. We made it, dude. It took me a little bit of time. We're celebrating the fact that I even physically got to the Heatran raid location. It took us a while, but we did it, fellas. Let's run through the team. Alrighty. Yo, what's up? My name's Petrouski, and it's been quite the journey to even get to this location. But today, I'm going to be attempting my Heatran raid. This is not a guide. This is not a, hey, here's how you do it. This is me just attempting and trying to take on the greatest PVM challenge in PokeMMO. I'm not a PVMer. I'm not a, battle expert. I'm a shiny hunter, okay? I run back and forth in grass. I know how to hoard. I know methods of every shot in the game. I know how to do things like that. This is not my expertise. I'm not here to show off that, right? I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm here to just be the average player and stumble my way through the most difficult PVM challenge within PokeMMO, okay? There's a lot of things to cover. I'm going to go over my team, but once again, this is not a guide. I am using Cav's guide. You can check him out over on YouTube. CAAV, I believe. His 9-turn Heatran raid guide. We are rocking very specific Pokemon today with very specific IVs and stats. We have a Flygon with modest nature, specifically 252 special attack, 156 special defense, and 102 speed alongside 5x31. This is an OT Pokemon. You need complete national Pokedex to even attempt Heatran. I think this is like this is Heatran. You don't need legendaries for that, which is why this is 611 as 6. So I'm finishing that today, which is nice. You need 4 OT Pokemon in your party, so you cannot just buy a team or do it as easily on alt accounts. I have Flygon Patrouski OT, Delayed Patrouski OT, Politoed, and then Pelipper, whereas my Kingdra and my Hydreigon are both Jedguns, alt, not my OT. So I have my Flygon here with Earth Power and Defog. Those are the 2 important moves there. There's a whole Poke Paste covering this team as well over on Cav's Dot if you want to see the full stats. I have a Hydreigon that is modest nature, 2v2 attack EVs, 170 special defense EVs, 88 speed EVs. The stats in the Pokemon builds that you need depends on what player slot you are. This is complicated stuff. This is the most difficult PVM challenge in PokeMMO. I am going to be in slot 2 for today's fight, which is column 2. There's 4 columns. There's player 1, player 2, player 3, and player 4. I will be player 2. So my turns will go as follows. I will go Flygon lead into Defog, into Flygon EP equals Earth Power, into Hydreigon Earth Powers, into Gallade, into Politoed / Pelipper, into Politoed, Pelipper, or Kingdra, and then into Kingdra finally, okay? So that is my order. Different people have different teams depending on what their player slot is. I have my Hydreigon here with Earth Power is the main thing I need to worry about. I have my Delayed that is plus attack nature, 2v2 attack EVs, 25 plus attack. I really want this to be 31 attack and adamant, but I had to make a last minute switch to have enough OTs for this raid. Sacred Sword is the main move here. Then we have Politoed with... Do I not have the right moveset on Politoed? Wait a minute. Oh no. Don't do this to me. Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I had a little panic. This raid needs so many things. I had a little small panic moment for a sec. Weather Ball. Weather Ball is the main move on Politoed. We do have that. We're good. Then next up, Pelipper with Brine. Both of these need Drizzle, of course. The Politoed is Timid Nature, 2v2 attack, 2v2 speed. Yeah, pretty simple. And then Pelipper, Modest Nature, 2v2 attack, 2v2 speed, 31 IVs. Brine is the move we use. Same with Kingdra. We have Modest with Brine. And this is 2v2 attack, 250 special defense. That's one of the weird ones on this. This needs to be Balti with assault gear as the item, and then Brian as well. So I believe I'm ready. I've already been jumping into my first attempt here in a quick sec, but there is a lot of setup that goes into this. I strongly recommend Cav's guide. Once again, should be linked in the description on the HEATRAIN video itself. Okay, I'm also going to be popping a shiny charm just to increase the chance of my HEATRAIN being shiny. I think we go ahead and do that now. I think I'm ready. I think I queue up for the raid if all my items are correct. If we make a mistake, we make a mistake. We got to retry. That's okay. That's normal. That happens. It's time to enter the HEATRAIN raid, fellas. All right, it's time for everybody's new favorite stream recap segment, and not just a selfish one that I like to do because I'm getting really into movies in a casual sense. I recently watched Arrival, okay? I gave it a 4.5 stars. There you go. That's the review. There you go. Mild spoilers, like really mild, like not really any important stuff in my opinion. If you want to watch the movie, this is not going to hurt the experience, but I still want to give the warning in case people like are really care about that stuff. So mild spoiler warnings for Arrival. You can skip the segments of the timestamps in the video if you want to skip this part. Arrival is an amazing movie. I'm gonna talk about the negatives first, okay? There's 3 scenes in Arrival that are so bad. This movie is like considered one of the greatest of all time from a lot of lists I've seen and yada yada. Very good sci-fi movie about aliens arriving, right? Landing on Earth, right? In the first 30 minutes of the movie, there's 3 terrible scenes that had me so worried that I wasn't gonna like it, and I hate when I have to give the hipster take of a movie that people love and say it's not great. But thankfully I think the movie started as a 2-star and it ended 4.5 out of 5. That's like how much it recovered. So keep that, maybe less, keep that in mind. In the first 30 minutes of the movie, there's a scene where the secondary main character, the main male character, drops his pen and like gravity switches. And his pen like flies up in the air, and he looked at it, he goes, well, that just happened. And I cringed out of my body. And then there's another scene where they're like meeting the aliens for the first time. And the Amy Adams, who acts out of her mind in this movie, she asks the Colonel, Forrest Whitaker, she goes, what are the aliens doing? And which he replies, they're arriving. The name of the movie is Arrival. They literally did like the meme. And I was like, how is this like, what is happening? This movie's supposed to be amazing. I was like losing my mind. And then after they like just barely show the like little, like the tiniest little bit of the alien through like thick fog, you barely get an idea of what they look like. They just cut to black. You don't get any communication, it just cuts to black, and it cuts to them like decompressing and getting out of their suits. These 3 scenes almost made me like turn off the movie. I literally could not believe, like, these were like atrocious level, like horribly like 1-star movie scenes. Having said that, that's all the negatives of the entire movie. It ended up a 4.5 star. This movie is a fucking gorgeous, a lot of people consider it to be a masterpiece. I wouldn't say that. It encourages you to be open-minded to your experience in the moment and be okay with enjoying the ride and remembering certain moments in your life as well as in the movie, and being okay with not understanding everything at once. You have to be okay with connecting them later on and have the patience to not need to solve everything in your life or in the movie all at once. This movie teaches patience and appreciation for the time and experiences that we have, and it's deeply, weirdly touching to the human experience in a way that I don't think any other movie has. I can't really say anything else without spoiling or whatever, more, but it's really a beautiful movie. And I recommend probably everybody should watch it, but man, I almost turned it off like on those cringe scenes. So just keep that in mind for the first 30 minutes. It gets there. It's a good movie. It's a slow burn. It's worth it. Check out Arrival. Let's get it, fellas. We brine it up. Come on. Deliver the final blow. 206 speed, no rain. Be the one. Do it. Yes, he actually did. No, I didn't. Fuck. That's okay. That's HEATRAIN, dude. That's HEATRAIN. It fucking took me 4 months to build up the courage. Like 4 to 5 months to build up the courage to do this fight. Unironically. Weeks of preparation. I can just throw any Pokeball, right? We did it, chat. Shout out to Fly Happy. YZ Trash was an amazing coach throughout this whole fight. Racky Prince. Everybody did a phenomenal job. Couldn't do it without you guys. Shout out to Cav. His guide was amazing. It's still hard. It's easy to be like, oh, it's not that hard of a fight. Well, I spent a long time preparing, getting specific Pokemon, spending millions of Pokeyen. I don't think it's fair to say, oh, the fight's not hard because it only took 30 minutes. There's a lot of prep that goes into it. I think that's a, you know, I don't think, I get what you're saying, but there it is, boys. The Patrouski OT Heatran. It's terrible. It's bashful nature. We can adjust with magma stones. We get 30 magma stones. Dude, I feel fucking free. I've been telling you guys, and people have been asking me to do the Heatran raid for like, since it's been out for like 5 months. Holy shit. Dude, YZ Trash, you coached a shit ton. Thank you so much, man. Really glad you showed up. Couldn't have done it without you and everybody, but that was, whew. We did it, fellas. You know what we do now? Now that we did this monumentous achievement, should we celebrate? Should we hang out? We got 26 minutes of Shiny Charm, fellas. Let's go fucking use it. Thanks for watching my Heatran raid video, though. Where are good places endgame players can sell high-ticket items? I usually go into trade chat, but I feel like I need more reach. Yes, this is a great question. I think the forums, if you're looking for, like, really high-end stuff, like your Q hats, your electric storms, your 1 bill plus vanities, or even, like, scythes, like 500 mil plus or 300 mil plus vanities, I think the PokeMMO forums is a really good place to go. As well as you can use discords. I don't know if high value items are sold as much in the discords, like my discord, the official discord. I don't know if you can advertise there for sure, but you could check it out. My discord and the PokeMMO forums are probably the 2 best spots. I would go forums first, honestly. I think forums, I recommend my discord for a lot of things. I think the forums is the best for selling rare niche, either collectibles or high-end items. Great question. Anniversary chests are back up. That's nice to see. They were kind of a suffering market for a little bit, and they're like probably my biggest investment. I have 1,250 anniversary chests, so they tanked a little bit. I know I bought all of these at like 20k a piece, maybe some between like 20 to 30k, but I think most of these were like 20k bought during the event itself. So I've been sitting on these for a long time. They've been at 50k or so. I think 50k is the highest price they've been consistently. I don't know when I would sell them. I plan to hold on these forever. This is such a monumental event in Pokemon. Even if the stuff in them is not worth that much, it's such a cool event. It's the only anniversary event we've ever seen in the game. It was the 10-year anniversary event of Pokemon. And they were going to bring it back every year, but they just didn't. And they never explained why or like what happened. I guess it just got away from them. So it was also my favorite event. The anniversary was my favorite event ever in PokeMMO, so I have a lot of a connection to it. Maybe if they reach like 100k a piece, I'd probably start selling, to be fair. But we're a long ways away from that. Well, like 2 years maybe, but my guess. We'll see. A calm little 60 mil. Is that actually how much? I don't even know how much. Is that how much it's worth? 1250 times. You would lose on listing fee, and you know it's not exactly that, but that is like 60 mil. That's crazy. I don't even fucking know that, to be honest. But it's probably one of my biggest, you know, investments. I usually keep my. Well, it's funny when I start selling investments, but people will always ask me why my cash stack. Like, oh, if I end stream today at 8 mil, and then I wake up tomorrow the next stream at like 40 mil, people are like, oh my god, what happened? Understandably so, you know, oh my god, what happened? I think a lot of players don't realize how much money I have just sitting in my bag, in my investments. I've talked about this a bit in the past. I try to avoid it, but it's an interesting topic. I actually actively avoid keeping my Pokeyen stack higher because, unfortunately, being a niche little content creator, right? I notice that I get way more beggars, way more people asking me for free stuff and asking for handouts when my cash stack is higher. Which is unfortunate, and it kind of sucks, and it does annoy me / bother me. So I try to avoid that by keeping it low. So I have, like, you know, Pokeyen wealth that I've spent years and years grinding for, but I usually keep it in items and in investments versus cash. So it's just a little something to keep in mind when you see high-end players. Like, their cash stack is not indicative of their, you know, net worth. That's just obviously silly, but it's easy to forget in PokeMMO, you know. 700 lucky red envelopes. I would love to do a video where I go through all my investments and calc my net worth. It's honestly one of my most fun things to do. Haven't done it in a long time. I might do that soonish. All right, speaking of, yeah, someone mentioned how cheap magma stones are, and honestly, they're way cheaper than I expected. I'm so down to just finish outfitting my Heatran. Now, I don't know what nature I'm going to put on it yet. Do most people go, let's check PvP. What do people go in OU? Timid 46%, modest 26, calm 24. So it seems split. I'm not going to worry about nature yet. I'll just get some nature herbs or whatever at some point, but I am going to go buy, there's 100k magma stones. I kind of need a lot, don't I? Or no, I need like 70-ish, 60-ish. Terrible at math. I think I need like 70-ish. I'm going to buy these as well. Honestly, this is a pretty cheap price for them. Here, I'll buy this stack as well. I'm going to stop there. I spent a lot on those, but that's okay. They're pretty cheap right now. I'm going to go grab those from the mail. We got our Heatran today. Timid for eruption. Calm for wall. I'd probably go timid. Yes, but yeah. I feel like I like the idea of an offensive Heatran. That's more fun to me. I think I have a timid. Do I not have a nature thing? Oh, no. I must not. Okay. We're going to fix our Heatran, which is really cool. Not everybody gets to see like this screen, this menu of, you know, adjusting your... You cannot breed legendaries in Pokemon. This is the only Pokemon you can use an item to change the stats. We're going to max out everything. We actually probably want our attack to stay low. Would be my guess. It's like foul play. I'm going to do this for now. Bam. 5 times 31 Heatran. That's why, what's it called doesn't really matter. Your IVs on the catch don't really matter because you can just change them like this. I might make it 6 times 31 here. I'll keep the magma stones for now since they're so cheap for the most part. And let's just get back to shunning for now. But this actually, dude, I have to EV train it still as well. I actually really want to use this. This makes me want to try out OU. Trying out OU with Heatran sounds so fun. Okay, Heatran, someone said Heatran tanked in price, and it's because there's a 3-month cooldown before you can re-catch your new Heatran. So a lot of people, it's been out for like 4 to 5 months. A lot of people are catching their first, like, second Heatran. This is down a lot more than I expected. 1.1 mil. I was expecting this to be like 2 to 3 mil at the minimum. Ideally, like 4 mil still. Hold a market on it. I feel like legendary syncs... I've talked about this since legendaries were available in PokeMMO. I do think legendary syncs need to happen at some point. Dude, I haven't checked Articuno prices in forever. Articuno and like Moltres and Zapdos. For those who don't know, what's Zapdos cost? Zapdos used to be at least like 1 mil. It's coming under a mil now, 800k. Like you want legendary Pokemon to hold value and be expensive. You don't want to be like so expensive to where it's like egregious and people can't get them at all, but you want them to hold value and be rare and be unique and be special from just your average Pokemon, right? The problem with legendaries in PokeMMO is there is no sync, and what I mean by that is there's nothing taking them out of the game, there's nothing consuming them, right? The same way there's tons of Pokeyen syncs, the same way there's tons of good IV Pokemon syncs, right? You can't breed legendaries, so you can't take them out of the game that way. We need to add something in the game where you like consume the legendaries to get something in return, whether it's like the magma stones, but I think that would hurt that market even more. I don't know the solution, but I would love to see some sort of, because otherwise you just end up with infinitely more legendaries slowly coming into the game and you'll never reach the demand. The demand will never be high enough to meet the supply. So more time passes, the price of legendaries will just decline. That's not a sign of a healthy market, in my opinion. All right, we're having a fun day. I don't recommend popping shiny charms, especially if you're just doing times 5 hordes, but it's a fun day. We're kind of using Pokeyen to have fun. We did our Heatran raid. Really generous day today on stream. I'm going to pop a shiny charm, increase our odds, see what happens. All right, we took a poll. Twitch chat voted. I'm going to change locations. I'm 25k dry. I'm on shiny charm. Petalburg jail is the winner, and I bet it only won because I bet half you guys are in Petalburg prison as we speak, because it's like one of the most common shunned single encounter spots in the game. If you happen to somehow not know about Petalburg jail, it refers to Petalburg Woods over in Hoenn. You have what's the percentage chance? Is it 20%? It's the best spot in the game for shiny hunting Shroomish, so people go there for Shroomish, and you also have a 5% chance of Trico, and I believe either a 5% or less than that chance at Slack Off. Personally, I like Shroomish, but I would hard prefer Slack Off or Trico. Slack Off is probably my most preferred there, weirdly. I I really don't like a lot of the fails. A lot of the fails in Petalburg are Uchiana's, Talos, which is Swallow's pretty cool. I really don't love the fails here. I don't like Shiny Poochyena, but we're gonna risk it for the biscuit, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna pop lore in a quick sec for sure. We're here for the meme. Okay, I don't know the meme behind this. Maybe it's just like a totally original thought slash name. Someone did redeem Twitch points to rename my Heatran, and he was the first person to do it, I believe. I'll just scroll back to see if I missed anyone, but I think that's correct. And he wants me to name it Beetroot. I don't know the meme there. Beetroot. Yeah, my wife loves beets. That's something. Chimeri says, holy shit, I'm almost my first ever 10 million Pokeyen. I feel like that's a massive deal. I feel like your first 10 mil is like, I feel like for me personally, that was the most impactful, like, financial goal that I achieved, right? 1 mil is a really big, your first 1 mil is a huge deal. You open up a lot of doors and are able to do a lot of things. But like your first 10 mil, the difference between 1 mil and 10 mil is huge. You're able to shiny flip, you're able to just flip in general, you're able to like build full like 5x through on PvP teams, you're able to like do way more breeds for profits, like way more access to money makers, you know, like you have way more access to things, right? Versus like the difference of like 10 mil to 25 mil, for example, right, is like not that crazy. Like what do you gain access to at 25 mil that you didn't have at 10 mil? Buying certain vanities, maybe like an alpha starter. There's a few niche things, but like once you have 10 mil Pokeyen, I genuinely feel like you have access to like 90% of, maybe probably 99% of the game. There's only a few things more that cost more than 10 mil. Most things in the game cost 10 mil or less for sure. Hey Pat, do you think it's worth to breed for Pumpkin in the Christmas events now while they aren't events? Do you think the same stats carry over each year? 1000%. Now, do you need to prepare for like the Halloween event and Christmas event now, like 6 months ahead? Probably not, but like there's something what I call like event season preparation, which I super recommend. I usually start, event season begins on October 31st, on Halloween generally in PokeMMO. However, for like, you know, the experienced players, event season really begins in like August. You start preparing, right? You start saving all your Pokeyen, you start preparing the Pokemon you may need, the Chandelures, the Crocodiles for the Pumpkin boss, anything else for like the other fights, other, you know, raids, for all raids, etc, etc. Yes, we're not there yet, don't worry about it yet, but I'll do a lot of videos covering it. Please, when like August comes around, I cannot recommend you guys enough, start preparing for October, start preparing for event season. You don't want to go into event season unprepared. Being prepared ahead of time will give you such an advantage. It's so powerful. I can't encourage it enough. Yeah, someone asked, is event preparation just Pokeyen saving? It's the large bulk of it, I'll be super honest, but a massive part is also getting the Pokemon and learning the strategies ahead of time. I always do preparation guides for each event, as well as I have events. I have playlists and videos and guides for every single year. If you go back and you look up how to prepare for Halloween event 2024, 2023, 2022, I have videos on all of that, right? So you can go see how we've prepared for events in the past. But the example that I always go to is 2x31 modest Chandelure. Okay, Chandelure is the Pokemon used for the Pumpkin boss. There's a few of them, but it's one of them. A 2x31 modest Chandelure, a good special attacking Pokemon, it's around 100k, 150k, right? There was a Halloween event where you could not find a 2x31 modest Chandelure or even mild or rash for cheaper than 1 million Pokeyen on the GTL. The market, it was so there was such a surge of new players that year, and there were not nearly enough good IV Chandelures. It was insane. So I can't recommend you enough. Like, this is why it's important to prepare these Pokemon ahead of time, so you don't have to spend a mil to get a Chandelure, so that you can do the boss, you can get the untradeable vanity, as well as make Pokeyen, make really good yen, right? So yeah, preparing ahead of time, that's a good example of why it's so important. This is a great question. For event season, if I'm planning on selling RP, is it better to sell it right before, during the event, or this is a great question. There's no perfect answer. It changes every time. It always depends. It just depends on the vanities and like the supply and demand of like, number one, how many people are buying RP and credit card swiping for that. Number two, how good is the vanity? A lot of what matters is how good is the vanity. I've seen events drop where RP goes up in price to like fucking 3.8 mil for 1,000 RP, right? Which is quite a lot. And I've seen events where RP right now RP is 2 mil for 1,000 RP, right? I've seen events where RP literally drops in price after the event drops because it's just not, people don't care about it, right? And then I've seen events where it spikes. So it really, really depends. RP is such a gamble when investing in for events or, you know, whatever. I will say, this is not investment advice, but I will say this, I've not seen RP get cheaper than this in like 10 years. But also, we haven't had as many players as Pokemon has right now. Like, the problem is like this is an unprecedented, like really cheap price for RP, but at the same time, there's a lot of unprecedented stuff happening in PokeMMO. So it's hard to tell what makes sense and what doesn't. Hey Pat, after how many hours would you say a player is no longer a new player? I consider it so depends. Like hours is too hard to judge. I say generally like once you have all 5 storylines done, that's like you're entering the mid game. But like I can depend. There's people like Rocket, the YouTuber, who has like thousands of hours in Kanto and is very knowledgeable in the game. It's some sort of arbitrary like how knowledgeable of the game are you, and there's not really a great way to do it. But the general metric would be like 5 storylines done, maybe like 1 storyline done plus like 1 million Pokeyen plus like a catching Pokemon plus like some other. You could do a bunch of different metrics. There's a bunch of ways to judge it, but it's a good question. Having said that, I think this is what I'm gonna go ahead and call it for today, guys. The Shiny Charm is over. Thank you for an amazing Wednesday stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it was entertaining. Good second monitor, good background content, good podcasty content. We always call it that. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully it was a positive asset to your day. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. I do upload every single day for this game that I love so very much. Twitch is you can follow me for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the content, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal's like Venmo donations, definitely allow me to be here. And you guys support me so fucking much, and I couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, Reno. Yo, Petrouski here, and I wanted to thank you personally for watching the video until the very end. I really, really appreciate that. And if your name is on this list, thank you to the moon and back, because you allow me to even make these videos by supporting the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.